Will the Italian Open be Novak Djokovic's first real big win of 2024, or does somebody else hold up this year's championship? What's up, everybody? It's John Eric Polai here to do a preview and prediction of this year's 2024 Men's Italian Open. Going to be a fun tournament with a lot of interesting questions coming into it. Let's get started today by talking first not about the guys playing in it, but the guys who won't be playing in this year's tournament. We have Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz, two guys that probably would have been the favorites to win this year's championship. Both those guys banged up as of late. They are not playing in this year's tournament, which makes it a big thing here for the number one seed in this year's tournament, Novak Djokovic. Djokovic with a very good draw, in my personal opinion, especially with those two guys not in the tournament here. Most likely, you're probably going to get a quarterfinal matchup with Casper Ruud. Now, let's remember, Casper Ruud did just beat Djokovic in Monte Carlo in the semifinals there. If Novak is to get by Casper Ruud, I think he has a very good shot of doing so. That would set up a semifinal with the likes of either Alexander Zverev, Taylor Fritz, or Grigor Dimitrov. All those matchups, I think, really could favor Novak, especially with that inconsistency from a lot of those players there. So pretty good draw for Novak Djokovic. Look for him to make a run in this year's tournament. Now, here's something that I'm going to hope happens in this year's tournament, because it could be a very fun matchup. Andrey Rublev and Stefanos Tsitsipas. Rublev and Tsitsipas on a collision course right now to face one another, and that would be a huge matchup if they are to face each other. So that would be a quarterfinal matchup between two men that just won ATP 1000 events on clay this year. Tsitsipas winning in Monte Carlo, Rublev just getting it done last week in Madrid. The big sleeper coming out of that side would be Felix, Auger, Aliassime. Just had a great tournament there in Madrid, losing in the finals to Rublev, so maybe he could possibly throw a wrench into things. And one other big name that I want to talk about here today, just before I wrap things up here, is Rafael Nadal. Now, we know about Nadal. He's been banged up here in 2024. He's trying to make a comeback here on this clay season. It hasn't been the prettiest so far, but he's hoping to be able to put it all together for a big French Open run. If he's going to make a run in a tournament and give everybody all this hope, it's going to happen right here in Italy. This is a huge tournament for Rafael Nadal. I just want to point that out to everybody out there. Looking at his draw here, right? We have Holger Rune maybe in there, but outside of that, I mean, who else? Medvedev, who's been banged up as of late, not the best clay player. If this was before injuries, Rafael Nadal would run right through his half of the bracket, or at least get himself into a semifinal matchup here without any problems whatsoever. So it's out there for Rafael Nadal right now. Can he execute is the big question here. We're going to have the answers to, of course, all of that coming up with this year's Italian Open. Now that we've gotten through kind of all that stuff and whatnot, let's now give the big prediction. For me, given the inconsistencies of all the other players in this tournament, right, with Rafa being banged up, with Stefanos Tsitsipas being inconsistent, and Casper Ruud and Alexander Zverev, I'm going to go with the guy that I know could put it together and win a tournament, no questions asked, Novak Djokovic. If he's to win this tournament, I did a video on this that I posted earlier in the week. If he wins this tournament, it might kickstart him here. And I really think that he might be the favorite going forward here on clay, with the injuries to Sinner, with the injuries to Nadal, with the injuries to Carlos Alcaraz. Look for Novak Djokovic to get it done in this tournament. Now, listen, I'm not saying that the likes of Stefanos Tsitsipas and Casper Ruud and Alexander Zverev or maybe Andrey Rublev, I'm not saying that those guys can't put it together and beat Novak. They absolutely can, but we've seen a lot of inconsistencies from those players throughout their careers here. So look for Novak Djokovic to start making a run right here with this clay season starting to wrap itself up.